Exclamation, everybody, and welcome back to Cube Ramblings. For me, it is currently May the 2nd, Saturday night, May the 2nd, 2015. We're into May already. It's incredible and awesome at the same time because I'm sitting here with some short sleeve shirts on and, well, a short sleeve shirt on. I'm not wearing multiples. That would be kind of weird. I don't know why you would layer in warm weather, but there's a thing. So it's good. I'm glad. I'm getting tired of the cold weather. Ready for all the warm, refreshing summer weather that we tend to get around here. Can't wait. Also, I attempted to record this a few hours ago and ended up getting caught up with all the news and everything going on during the week. So unfortunately, recording this at my more normal time, which is just prior to midnight, but we'll keep our heads up and keep on keeping this. Get this one through to the presses as soon and as speedily as I can. I also want to record some Void Expanse after this, so hopefully I'll be able to do that. I should be able to. It's usually, it depends on whether or not I start to nod off, because at the same time I want to make sure that I also get this all rendered and ready to go. So that takes some time. But these are all the behind-the-scenes things that you don't get to experience, namely setting the rendering of this starting, and then getting an hour of sleep, and then coming back and finishing up uploading and doing all the thumbnails and all that stuff. Fun stuff at 3 a.m, as you can imagine. I am also, if I sound a little punchy, it's this is going to be a drinking while recording session. I've been trying to get through some of the beer that's in my fridge. I am, in case you're wondering, drinking some Sam Adams Cold Snap. I had been gifted a seasonal variety pack of that, so it's a couple different things in there. This one's actually not too terrible. The other one I had, which I forget the name of, was kind of it was a little bit rough but bearable. This one is relatively straightforward and narrow. So if I sound a little loosey goosey, it's because it's pretty much the only thing I've had all day. Don't drink alone, kids. Don't drink alone. With all of that said, you might also notice, if you're taking a look at the actual video, I am not where the end of the last video ended, and I have a lot more levels than I did then. That's because I recorded this session right after my recent live stream on Friday, last night. And I did what I tend to do, and it always bothers me. I use OBS to record and live stream and all that stuff when I'm doing the live streams. But I use DxTory to actually do the game capture. So what you can do is you can set DxTory to, instead of recording to a file, it will do what's called live. In other words, it'll record to a stream that goes to memory, and then OBS can listen for that stream in memory and then stream it out to the various to Twitch and various other providers. Excuse me. So I do that because it's a lot easier. Otherwise I'd have to do the game capture in OBS, and then every time I want to capture a different game, I have to set up another game capture thing. It's got to be by the window and all that stuff. This way here, if you use it through DxTory, which a lot of other people do too, it's a little trick that I've heard some streamers use, then all I have to do is just fire up the game and have DxTory running, and then I just hit record in DxTory, which is, instead of recording, actually just sends it live, and so on and so forth, and I don't have to do any any additional setups in OBS or anything like that. So it makes it a lot easier if you're switching between games or you're streaming a lot of different games and whatnot. So cool things all around. Unfortunately, I forgot right after the stream to set it back to file, and I've done this before, and every time I beat myself up over it, because literally on the screen it will say, when I start recording, it will say either file or live, depending on what mode I have it in. And I didn't even notice that it was set to live, and I went and recorded an entire over an hour of Cube World here to use as the background footage, and went to, finished it up, went on the hard drive to move it into a folder, because I record everything to one folder, and then I just like to move it over to another folder on the same drive so it doesn't take any time. And when I went to do that, found there was no file there. So this is recording attempt number 2. This one is successful though. So that's why I am much further along in the game. That's why the time of day is different. That's why I have much more levels than I did. Also, when I started up this session, just for, kicks and giggles, I looked at how much area I've explored so far. And according to the game, it's at 17,500 and a little bit over that kilometers, square kilometers that I have. Was it meters or was it kilometers? I think it was kilometers, actually. Kilometers that I have explored in the game. So that is very cool. Very cool indeed. A lot of exploration going on there. Quite a lot. So that is where we stand in Cube World. Have not heard any other additional updates as far as Cube World goes. Every once in a while I pop onto Reddit. There's, some anecdotes of people, actually contacting Wally and getting, the standard, still working on it, that kind of thing, which is cool and everything. So looking forward to more updates. You still can't buy the game anymore. The store is still down, but I suspect that they're still in whatever upgrade that they were trying to do with their store software. So it is what it is. I still, even if I don't ever see in my lifetime this game released, I'm still enjoying the heck out of it. This whole series is just because I like to be able to sit here every week and play Cube World, and I need to justify it to myself by by recording. To be perfectly honest, if I was not recording this, I probably would have stopped playing for a while, or there would be at least, it wouldn't be a regular play session, it would be more like every month or so I would probably jump back into it. I still really enjoy the game. That's why I want to play it so much. But I admit that I probably wouldn't play it every single week like I do like this if I wasn't recording myself doing it. So that is that. That brings you up to speed, as always, with what this is and what this does. So this is just me. This is an excuse for me to ramble on about whatever I feel like as far as games go. Usually around the news or around things that I've been looking at. And I've been looking at a lot of stuff. And there's a couple bits of news around that we'll talk about right now. But before I do, let's talk about what I've been playing here. So, finished up, and I say that in air quotes even though you can't see it. I finished up Titan Souls on my last live stream last night, Friday. I will be putting the highlight of that up on Twitch shortly. So played it for about an hour on the stream, and that brings my total up to 5 hours. And just prior to the 5 hour mark, I completed the final bosses in the game. So the game is technically done, although you're right after the credits, it pops you right back into the game, so you can, and the timer continues. So you can, and there are a bunch of Titans that I have not faced yet. So I'm debating whether or not I'm going to go back and play some more of that or not, and play some, get some of the other Titans killed now that I've gotten sort of the bosses out of the way. Because there's a door at the very end that doesn't open, and I assume it doesn't open until you have killed every Titan. So I may do that at some point. I sort of want to give it a rest for that game for a little bit. Not because I didn't like it. I did like it a lot. It's just that it does get, I had 378 deaths, and over 100 of them were just from that last hour. So it wore me out a little bit. just a tiny bit. It wore me out. So I want to just take a little break from it. Plus, I am considering what I want to do next as a live stream. For a while, I've wanted to sit down and actually get into Shadows of Mordor, which I still have. I have not dug into it all, and I still have that on my Xbox here, and it's been a while since I've dug onto my Xbox, so I really would like to possibly stream that. The reason I'm saying I'd possibly want to stream that is because, and rather than doing YouTube, is because I've also pre-ordered The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. I have The Witcher 1 and The Witcher 2. I sat down with The Witcher 1 for about a half an hour off camera and just trying to get a feel for it. And the thing I noted in that game was the controls were really starting to piss me off in the first half an hour. Like they were really, like, I was having trouble. Like I was struggling with the controls. They were a bit clunky. I could see myself getting used to it, but I wasn't. There was a lot of exposition, and I suspect that the Witcher games are all like that, where there's just a ton of exposition. I was more worried that if I start The Witcher 3 not knowing anything about the other games, that I would be lost. And I don't know if that's going to be the case or not, but it's probably what's going to happen. Is I'm probably going to start playing The Witcher 3 once it comes out, which I think it's supposed to come out on the 4th, possibly. I don't remember offhand, or was that... I know Wolfenstein The Old Blood is coming out very shortly as well. In fact, you can preload that now on the consoles. So maybe that's what's on May 4th, and The Witcher's on the 16th, maybe. I get all these numbers, all these dates mixed up in my head, and I didn't write them down, so I'm just going off the top of my head of what I can remember. But I think that's how it broke down. I think The Witcher is coming in on the 16th, maybe, or 12th. I don't remember. And the Wolfenstein The Old Blood, I think, is coming May 4th, if I'm not mistaken. So that's 2 games right there that I almost definitely want to play on my channel. Definitely Wolfenstein The Old Blood, so I'm going to be playing that as soon as I get it. Which means I've also been playing on the side some No One Lives Forever. I actually just recorded another episode of it today, but I haven't released any episodes of it. And I'm doing that, as I said, on purpose, because I want to get a backlog of something, just so that I can refer to that when I want to actually start releasing it. The other thing that worries me too is that I know for No One Lives Forever, it's hard for me to pin down exactly how much I have to record in order to get episodes out of it, because there's a lot of failure states that I have in that game. So sometimes it may take me, over an hour just to get one episode out, one half an hour episode out. Same thing with Dishonored, which is why I'm trying to kind of manage those a little bit, because I got a lot of things going on as far as recording goes, and I don't want to fall behind. I don't want to have to hey, I didn't have this week because I didn't have time or whatever. I'm trying to be better about that. Not that I was ever really terrible at it, but I've had some failures along the way here. Like Void Expanse, I didn't even get a chance to record last weekend. So there was no Void Expanse on Sunday. I'm hoping, I still don't have an episode recorded, so I'm hoping after I do this, I'll still have some strength left to record that and still be, still have it be a decent episode. So that's my goal. And my weekends have been kind of crazy. This weekend actually hasn't been too bad so far. But tomorrow will be interesting because I'll have to, I have to do some just normal chores, like actually, since it's summertime now almost, mowing the lawn and all that fun stuff that I got to cheap out of in the winter months. So that's what's going on there. That's my plan. I'm hoping to do that because I really want to get an RPG onto my channel again. Not that Dishonored's not an RPG. It most certainly is. But I want to get something even more, I guess, highbrow RPG on there. Like I've been looking at Pillars of Eternity. That one, I'm almost afraid to put Pillars of Eternity on my channel because that one's going to be like, that's like an 80-hour game or something, especially with the way I play RPGs. And I have a feeling I might not be able to get through that whole game, even with recording it. So I'm kind of afraid of it, actually, because it's going to be probably 200 episodes by the time I'm done. It's kind of like doing a Skyrim thing, right? It's like, this thing's going to take forever in a day, and it's going to be lots and lots of episodes. In the meantime, other things are coming out that are drawing my attention and various other tidbits there. So that's what I'm looking at there. Also, I have been looking at, I played very briefly, I played on the stream on Friday, Chroma Squad. I'm really enjoying that. It's a nice, cool little, just tongue-in-cheek game. It's wears its humor on its sleeve. I was really getting into it. I was really enjoying that. So that might also appear on the channel soonish. I don't know when. I haven't recorded anything yet. I do have the hour or two that I played on the live stream of it. I don't think I'm going to put that out as a highlight. Maybe I will. I guess it wouldn't hurt to put it out as a highlight because it was just a sort of a review or a first a trying out stream. So maybe I will do that. So you might be able to just go over to my Twitch channel and see that. You can definitely see it as it is now because it's still a recorded session, so it's still out there, just in one big chunk with Titan Souls right now. I haven't highlighted it yet. So that's a thing that may end up being another thing on my channel. Probably if I do that, I was thinking of making it the Friday slot, Friday afternoon slot, right after the spatials. So that I think I might do. Also, Soul Zero version 0.6 has been released. I'm still waiting a little bit on that before I jump back in again. But I do intend on possibly renewing that series for a little bit, just for a little while. Once I see if there's more maps, maybe by the community or various other things that have changed. Right now, it seems like a big performance update was happened and a move to Unity 5 Pro from what they were on. So that's a thing. Also, and I mentioned this in the live stream, I have played some of the tutorials, not all of them, but some of the tutorials of Kerbal Space Program, at least enough to get into orbit, which that's assuming a hell of a lot on my part. And I actually failed at the tutorial several times before I quote unquote succeeded. So that might be a shape of things to come. That one I also kind of want to do on the channel. But I'm debating in my mind how I want to do it. I don't know if I want to do it as a YouTube thing because it is one of those games. I mean, it's no different than, say, a Cities Skylines or the Spatials or a Soul Zero in that it's going to be like 45 minutes or so of me kind of just very little cuts, just, chatting and doing things. The problem, though, is that there is a lot of time in that game where you're spent just kind of waiting around. I mean, you can fast forward time a lot. So I don't know exactly how that's going to shape up. I'm sort of, the debate that's going on in my mind is, should I make that live stream and then possibly release it to YouTube, do it on both, like do a live stream on Twitch and then release that whole live stream as a video on YouTube. So like live stream for 2 hours and then have a 2-hour video on YouTube. Or should I just do one or the other? Should I just do it as a live stream on Twitch and just leave the highlights up on Twitch, and then you can just go over there if you want to look at it, like I've been doing with a few other things like Titan Souls and Battlefield Hardline? Or should I just make it YouTube exclusive? I haven't quite figured out yet. I haven't quite figured out what I want to do with that yet. I feel like it would be something that would lend itself well, because there'd be a lot of downtime, to doing it on Twitch, because then I can just play some music while I'm doing it, and stream some OC Remix and chat and do various other things. Or I can just do it on the YouTubes and just be a little bit more professional. that was my backhanded dig at myself right there. No. I could just do it on YouTube's, and then that way it's there for everybody, and it's in a familiar format, and it's edited at least somewhat. I would imagine I would edit it somewhat. I don't know. Maybe the fast forwarding of time and stuff would be enough that I don't need to do that. I know that there would be at least some parts that I would edit out, like building a ship and whatnot. Whereas on Twitch you get to see the whole thing unedited. So even the building of the ship and what went into it and all that stuff. So I don't know. I'm debating that right now. I'm debating which way I want to do it, or how it should shape up. Because again, I also want to do Shadows over Mordor, and that I almost definitely am going to do as a live stream, because I know that game, because an open world game to me seems like a better choice for a live stream than it does for Twitch, because there's again a lot of downtime in those games where you're just sort of traveling between areas and there's not a whole lot going on, and so on and so forth. I mean, there's plenty of YouTubers out there. I watch Jesse Cox, for instance. There's plenty of YouTubers out there who do largely unedited. I say largely unedited. If it is edited, it's very subtle. So I don't know for sure. But I'll say, largely unedited, playthroughs of things like that. Like he's been playing, Dragon Age Inquisition for a while, and he has ability to make it interesting enough that you sit there and at least listen to it. It's kind of like what I do with Cube World here. Like, it would be very boring to just kind of sit here and do at this point in time, doing a straight up let's play of it, because there's a whole lot of me just kind of walking in one direction or seemingly in one direction, and also trying to level up, even though I mean, my ultimate goal here is to get to power 100 at some point, because I picked up a recipe in this game way back. I think it was like level 2, and I bought this recipe, and it was power 100 because it was very cheap, and it was like in the first area that I spawned in. And my guy he's still like level 92. He will not get up higher than level 92 right now, and it's just ticking me off. I don't know how to get his level up to the point where I can actually use that, whatever it is that I picked up. I can use, and I have some weapons too that are higher power levels too that I can't. I have to look around in the wiki at some point to figure out how to actually get my power levels higher on this guy, or if it's even possible for me to do it. But anyway, I digress. Those, I feel like I would have more success with those kinds of games, like the open world games where it's like a lot of downtime, as a live stream, than I would say highly editing them and putting them on YouTube, because it would end up being like it would end up being one of those things where I run into this problem with Dishonored too, right? Where it's like, I want to make sure that I don't edit out bits of the story that are interesting. But at the same time, there are parts that are very, very slow and very lumbering, and I still want to get things accomplished each episode, right? I still want to be making progress. I don't want an entire episode where I'm just sitting there reading the books aloud, even though, I mean, I have a series on sorcery, which is basically me just reading out to you guys, but it feels out of place in a game that's supposed to have at least a little bit of action in it and stealth and all that stuff. And stealth games generally are really hard for me because I'm focused very heavily on trying to get around the levels without being detected, and at the same time I'm trying to absorb the lore so I understand what the hell's going on, at least to the best of my abilities. And it's a blind playthrough, right? So I don't know what's coming up next necessarily. Sometimes I might look up a walkthrough, or I might look up a video just to see what might be coming up in case I need to maybe edit something. But yeah, for those games, it's I'm still trying to figure out how to crack wise and be humorous and also, lighthearted and everything else, and make them interesting while at the same time being able to divide my attention enough to be able to understand what's going on. And I think that's my struggle right now with pretty much a lot of the things I'm doing. It's easier for me to do that per se in like a real-time strategy game like the Spatials and whatnot, because it's casual enough that I can divide my attention without missing too much going on. And when I do miss something going on, I can always look in one of the menus and find out what happened. I can look at the history. But when you're in like an action game and things are, changing very rapidly, it can be really hard to inject some kind of personality into that. And that's what I've been struggling with a lot, especially with Dishonored. I find myself struggling, and even with No One Lives Forever, even though it's not a blind playthrough, I know for the most part what's coming up. I remember a lot of it. I don't remember all the details. Like even today I was recording an episode, I'm like, I don't remember how I got past this part. And it's like, oh, just read the damn objectives and then that'll tell you how to get past this part. But it's I'm still trying to learn how to do that. That's the thing that I'm still in my brain trying to figure out how I can make that happen. So hopefully as I do more and more of these, I will be able to learn something. I mean, I've got over 700 videos. You'd think I'd learn something by now, but I am the slowest damn learner you'll ever have the misfortune of encountering. So it's taken me a while to really get my stride there. Plus, I'm still in that mode where I'm like second guessing everything that I say. You hear it a lot here as well. Still, although I'm getting a little bit better at expressing myself, I'm still failing miserably when it comes to not having something written down and trying to have a decent argument or decent argument, I guess, decent thoughts on things. I ramble, and I hope that at some point some nugget of wisdom finds its way into the front of my brain so that I may gnaw on it verbally. Man, I gotta drink more before I start these things. All the brain cells are firing off on all cylinders here today. Maybe that's the key. More drunk play sessions. Not that I'm drunk, but it's I've had just a little bit, just a tad bit. I still have a lot there, just waiting for me. It's calling out, saying, "I'm getting warm. Please stop yabbering and drink me." Uh, anywho, that's those are some things I'm looking at. Those are things I'm gnawing on. Also, I still have on my Xbox. I still have Forza Horizon 2, the Fast and Furious thing that I haven't done yet. I intended today to try and figure out how to try to get this damn thing working. This new capture thing that I got. That I forget the name of it now. I always forget the damn name of it. But I've been trying. I intended to sit down and try to get that working, and instead I recorded some stuff. So I think at some point in the future, hopefully I will be able to get this thing working, and then I'll be able to record those things at 60 FPS rather than the 30. If not, I'm just going to punt. I'm going to do it the way I always did with Hopage, with my Hopage here. So that's the thing. The Elgato. That's the thing that I'm trying to struggle to freaking get working. To be fair, I struggled to get the Hopage working too, because something's up with my USB ports on this computer. I don't know what it is. It's like they skimped on USB ports. I don't know how that's even possible. Imported USB ports. I have no idea. I don't know how you mess something as ubiquitous as that up, but apparently they are said messed up. All right. So those are some of the things I've been looking at. A couple of the other games that I've been looking at that I either have purchased or I am pre-ordered or whatever, or I've just been kind of taking a quick peek at. So there's apparently this game, this sci-fi game called Solarix, and I don't own it yet. I was looking at the videos for it, and I was looking on the Steam page to see what the reviews were like, and the reviews are kind of they say mostly positive, but they're really kind of mixed if you really look at them, about what the game is and how it works. And it's a sci-fi game, obviously by the title, and it's a first-person stealth shooter, right? It has a lot of it sort of has the look and feel of Deus Ex almost, from what I could see from the videos. And some have compared it to that. Some have compared it to System Shock a little bit. It is horror game. It is a survival horror game. In the veil of, say, a Dead Space kind of thing. But I guess that's the part that's giving me the most pause, right? Like a lot of the feedback has been like, this game is not anything like System Shock or Deus Ex, and the AI is pretty terrible, and so on and so forth. And just looking at their videos, you can even see in their videos, like, they're literally walking by the AI, and and they're not picking up on what's going on there. So but even given all that, like the fact that it's sci-fi and it's got the sort of that look and feel to it, it immediately popped onto my brain. Like, it keeps popping into my brain, like, I should probably look at this. I should probably look at this. I should probably look at this. But then it's also survival horror, and I don't like survival horror games. This might be the first instance of I'm looking at a sci-fi game going, yeah, I don't really think I want to play that game. Other than Dead Space. Dead Space was also another game I was like, yeah, I don't think I really want to play that game. And it's sci-fi. So I don't know what it is. Like, normally a sci-fi game would sort of override my better judgment, even to a lesser extent, puzzle games, sci-fi puzzle games. But in this case, and in the case of survival horror, I kind of just like, no thanks. Because I know if I buy it and I start playing it, I'm going to be just ripping it to shreds. I'm going to be like, hey, look at me. I'm going to be, full on, Mr. Science Theater 3000 on that game, probably. Just ripping it a new one, in terms of just making fun of everything that I see there. just because that's the way I treat horror. I tend to anyway, and that tends to piss a lot of people off. If I were to record myself doing that, I suspect I'd get a lot of angry, irate people, because it's people take their horror games very seriously, and they want to hear you scream like a little girl, and that's not saying that I wouldn't scream like a little girl. I'm sure there would be some points in it that would make me go, eesh, or make me jumpy and make me edgy. Hell, I still every once in a while scream like a little girl when a creeper blows up behind me in Minecraft. I mean, that's just tis the nature of things. And you got a little taste of that if you look at my Wolfenstein, the old Wolfenstein: The New Order video, the very first one, when there's that jump scare at the very beginning when a dog attacks you. I was like, oh, right? It's what's going on here. But then you also got a taste of me like just putting the game down for that one. Like, oh yeah, is that what we're gonna do right now, game? We're gonna have jump scares? Is that what it is? We can't have real scares. We can't do psychological, huh? We got to do jump scares because that's the easiest freaking thing you can do. I worry that if I ever did those videos, that it would be it would be rather terrible. Like I might even delete them myself, take them down myself, just out of sheer embarrassment at how poorly I would treat them. But that's, we may never know. We may never know if that's truly the case or not. But yeah, I was kind of, I was intrigued, and I start looking at it. I was like, no, it's survival horror. Nah, probably not my taste. But that said, I'm sure there are others out there, possibly watching this who are like, oh, survival horror, survivor horror. Wow, it's not that hard to say. Survival horror. Let me take another drink here. Jeez Louise. I should take another drink right now. There we go. Survival horror. Yes, kids. That's what alcohol does for you, kids. It improves your diction. Don't take that there. It also disimproves your other diction. If you know what I mean. So, all that said, Solarix might be something that you are interested in. I hear it's, from the comments anyway, it's a rather short game. Like, it's supposed to be 7 to 8 hours, but some of the commenters were saying that they were getting through it in about 4. So, I guess it's up to you guys to do your own due diligence. I won't be playing that, probably. I won't be buying it either, I don't think. But it is there. It was on my radar for a brief moment. And now it's not. Something else that caught my attention in the sci-fi area here. Let me bring up the link here so I say this game's name properly. Sonder. Sonder is this game's name. And there's a video, there's like a dev diary video out there, and I was watching that, and I'm intrigued. I'm very intrigued by it. Obviously, anything sci-fi I'm immediately intrigued by. This one it's sort of combining two things that I think are really cool together. So I've been playing Telltale games, and which is really the only episodic games I've really been playing, I think. And I'm really enjoying them. I'm really enjoying both of them, both Game of Thrones and Tales from the Borderlands. Really enjoying both of those games. This game, Sonder, is sort of taking the concept of episodic video gaming, sort of like that, and putting it in a sci-fi setting, but then also putting a twist on it. And the twist is that there's no hero of the story. It's basically you can be every character, or you can be no characters. It's very wild concept that they're coming up with, and immensely intrigued by it. The idea is that you're in the future, but it looks, the sets and everything look like something out of Aliens, or Alien, I should say, the original Alien movie, where it's sort of the like 80s kind of future. The 80s future. And everything is sort of industrial, mass-produced and whitewashed, and all kinds of interesting little tidbits like that. And in it, you can inhabit the bodies of all the crew members, and it plays out in near real time. They said real time, but I would imagine it's more like a near real time thing, sort of. But maybe it is true real time. I'm not entirely sure. As you're playing the game, all the characters are going about their business, and the story is doing its thing. It's kind of like if anybody's ever played Night Trap back on the Genesis Sega CD console, before it was pulled from shelves due to it being too graphic for kids, which is hilarious to think of nowadays when you've got something like Hatred going out on Steam soon. But they in that game, that was a real time game where the story played out regardless of whether you were seeing it or not. So I think the game lasted something like half an hour, 35 minutes or something like that. And during that time, you were in control of cameras throughout a mansion. And the idea was that you switch between these cameras, and if you switch at a particular time, you will get to see some live action video of people in the house doing whatever. Maybe they're doing their hair in the bathroom. Maybe they're dancing in the living room to to some 80s tunes. And along the way, your goal was to find Augs and stop them from hurting the teenage girls that were in the house. So every time every time you'd see an Aug come on the screen, there was little traps placed around the house, and it would your meter would go into the red, and then when it did, you hit a button on the controller, and it would trigger a cutscene where the Aug would get eliminated from the game. And the idea was to keep the house from getting overrun by them by taking these Augs out, and at the same time, you want to get the story right. You want to stick around long enough to hear the story going on and see what's going on with that, and why there's Augs there, and various other things. And then also you need to listen to some of the characters at certain times, because they changed the code that allows you to have access to all the video screens. So you have to make sure you change it to the right color and all that stuff. It was still it was linear. I mean, linear through and through. You couldn't really change much about it. But it kind of this game sort of reminds me of that a little bit. The Sonder reminds me a little bit of that. I keep looking at the name because I keep forgetting what it is. I keep thinking in my head like Sanders, like Colonel Sanders chicken, but it's Sonder. And in this one, it's kind of the same concept where the game is just the stories are just playing out whether you're watching them or not. And you can go and then inhabit any of the characters in that story. And when you do, you then affect how the story plays out, at least from their perspective. So you can have them, you can affect the story, the dialogue they say. You can affect what they actually do, where they actually go in the station, so on and so forth. Or you can just inhabit none of them and just fly around as a disembodied camera, just looking at what's going on, just watching them interact with one another. And through all those different interactions, you can change the story. And then you can get along, a certain point along the story and then realize, I don't really like the way this is going. And you can rewind back to any point you want in the story and then pick up again from there and maybe inhabit a different person and try a different take on the various, you know, the various dialogues and everything else going on there, or what, you know, who interacts with whom, and so on and so forth. So I'm very intrigued by it. They are still in a very, very pre-alpha state. There's nothing to download yet. There's only a video out there. They don't have a publisher yet. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that, or what's going to happen. So it's very, very early that we're seeing this. I just so happened to catch it on a link to it from Kotaku. So I will leave that link in the description. One of the few times I will link to Kotaku, but it's there for your viewing pleasure. And you can determine for yourself if it seems like a cool concept. I think it's impressively cool. I don't know how it's going to work out as a game yet, but I'm intrigued enough to keep an open mind on it. So that's where we stand there. And then, unless you were living under a rock, earlier this week, you saw that a trailer went out for Just Cause 3. Now, I did not play the original Just Cause. I played Just Cause 2 on my Xbox 360, and I enjoyed it for what it was. It's basically an excuse to just go and just blow shit up repeatedly, and sometimes that's all you really need. It's just an excuse to go blow shit up. And Just Cause 3, if you look at the trailer, you'll be very impressed by the myriad of explosions and just absolute ridiculousness that you can get away with in that game. More of the same, you know, like jet surfing and hooking various with your grapple hook, hooking various cars and whatnot together, and it's just, I think that's the type of game. Just Cause 2 was the type of game you didn't play for the story. You just played it because it was just so freaking ridiculous. It was just over the top, just completely over the top. And it looks like Just Cause 3 is shaping up to be the same way. I will leave you a link to Eurogamer, which gives you the trailer in its full glory and a little bit more information. I don't remember off the top of my head when it's scheduled for release. I assume it's still a little ways off, but then again, it might be sooner than I think. I can't. I didn't write down. Excuse me. I didn't write down what actually date it was supposed to appear. So you have to go around and dig for yourself and find out. But I may have pre-ordered that already. I may just have pre-ordered it. I guess I could look at Steam to see what it said for my pre-order, but yeah, I may have pre-ordered that one already, based on just that video. So I am looking forward to that. I don't know. I assume that I'll be probably recording that, and I assume that will be something that I do on the YouTubes, but I don't know yet. It's still too early. There's so many things coming out right now, and I've got a lot of series just continuing on, so I can't. My schedule is about as tight as I can make it right now. I have these little periods of time set aside now where I can go and look at some new things come down. Like I've been trying to look at Wildfire. I've been trying to look at some more things to do side quest videos on, and I've got a couple things that I think would qualify as good side quest videos. It's just, in order to have the time, carve out the time to do that, I have to leave myself some open spaces on the schedule. So that's why I've been trying to. That's why you've been seeing a little bit fewer videos from me every day, just because I've been trying to make sure I manage that time a little bit better, so I can keep an eye out for new stuff coming down and keep the side quest videos coming through at a fairly decent clip. I mean, they've been really scattershot, and I'm hoping maybe to make them a little less scattershot, but it's very hard to do that because I look at things so early on in their development that it's hard to sometimes to just put a video out. That's because it would be like a 5-minute video and like, well, here's what it is, here's the demo. You know, it's I'm trying to wait for things to get a little bit more meat on their bones before I do it. So that was Just Cause 3. Also, Codemasters has released onto early access this week Dirt Rally, and it looks like they might be focusing just on PC for this. They haven't said they have any plans for any consoles for this one, and they're also focusing on the sim aspect of it. This might be, as I believe Eurogamer said, and what link am I giving you here? I'm giving you a link to where is it at? I just lost it. Polygon. But I think Eurogamer even talked about this a little bit too, where this might be Codemasters' first true sim game. So if you're into the sim racing stuff, this might be it, because they've done rally racing before, but it's always been sort of a sub mode in the larger game, and you've always had those other things like Gymkhana and all that other, you know, stuff that people like to to piss on. And you know, being a guy that doesn't really get too much into the sim games, I don't know if it'd be something that I would like. Rally racing has always been kind of a weird one for me because it is ridiculously difficult. Even on the easy mode, it's ridiculously difficult. And you really got to be into sims, into a sim game like that to really appreciate that. So this may not be something that's up my alley, but it may be up, you know, the alley of those who do really like the sim games. I'm still on the fence about Project Cars. I think I may have pre-ordered it. I don't remember off the top of my head right now, but yeah, I'm still on the fence about Project Cars. Don't know how Project Cars is going to fare out. The same way with Dirt Rally. I suspect Dirt Rally is going to be too simmy for me to enjoy, so I'm probably going to stay away from that. Project Cars, I don't know yet, and that's getting nearer and nearer to a release, and I still don't quite know how that's going to flesh out either. So again, I appreciate the arcade racing games more than anything else. I've actually been thinking about, even though I watched all of Kurt's videos on Kurt Farlands or Bust, Kurt's videos on Driver San Francisco. I watched all his videos on it, so I know the story of that game and I know pretty much what goes on in that game. But I've been having an itch lately, like maybe I should just buy the game anyway and play it and record it, even though I kind of know, even though it won't technically be a blind playthrough. Well, it would be kind of a semi-blind playthrough, right? Because I haven't played the game, but I've seen it played, so I kind of know what's coming up. But it's also been such a long time since I saw those videos that it might be like playing a new game. And he seemed to have a lot of fun with it. So I was like, and it's definitely arcade. So I'm like, maybe I should do that, because I played the original Driver on PC. That I have debated recording that on the YouTubes because I remember the training that you're forced to go through. I remember that being such a pain in the neck. Like, it took me days to get through that training that I was like, I almost didn't want to play the rest of the game. And I played some of the game, but I remember just kind of getting bored with it and just more playing it just so that I could record videos, because it was kind of cool. It had its own video recording thing. It had cinematic angles and all that stuff, even back in that day. But yeah, that's another thing. That's for another day. I also have Driver Parallel Lines, because I figured I was on GOG and I was like, yeah, let me buy this. I'm buying other things. I might as well buy this. And I haven't played through that either. I only played like maybe 5 or 10 minutes of that. So I heard that sucks, but it's, you know, I don't really know until I try it myself whether or not something sucks anymore. Tend to, because, you know, what's bad for one person might be right in my wheelhouse for me. So that's Dirt Rally. Also, while I'm thinking about GOG here, very quickly, uh, Star Wars games, the old Star Wars games, are available for a very, very awesome price in bundles here on GOG. Also, Steam, I think, has them in a sort of, has the bundles, but they might not be for as cheap as GOG is doing. I don't know for sure. But on GOG, there's two bundles here on their front page. The Blaster Bundle, which gives you X-Wing Special Edition, TIE Fighter Special Edition. I bought this one because I have TIE Fighter, but I have it on floppy disks, so it's not necessarily something that I can just install willy-nilly. X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, X-Wing, which I think is also Special Edition, X-Wing Alliance, Rogue Squadron 3D, Rebellion, and Galactic Battlegrounds Saga is in their Blaster Bundle, and that's going right now for $38.93 on GOG. Down, it's like damn near almost 50%. It's like its normal price is $61.93, so that's a very good, very, very good deal there. And then an even better deal, the Star Wars Saber Bundle. I would have bought this, but I already have bought this on Steam, actually. Most of them, anyway. In this one, you get Jedi Knight Jedi Academy, Jedi Knight Dark Forces. Well, I'm sorry, just Dark Forces. Jedi Knight, the original Jedi Knight, Star Wars Battlefront 2, and Republic Commando, which I've played through. It's a very good game. Jedi Outcast, Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast, which I have actually the CD for, and I want to play that. I actually have that on Steam too. I might play the Steam version of it. I want to jump back into that because I have actually played that game before and I loved it, so I would like to get into that again at some point. Star Wars Empire at War, Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2, which I've played 2, but not all the way through. Knights of the Old Republic 1, I hear, is fantastic. And Starfighter, Star Wars Starfighter, which I think was also a pretty good game. I never got a chance to play because I don't think I don't know why I didn't get a chance to play, but I heard that might be a good one too. And this bundle normally would go for $97.90. It is going for $22.44 US right now. Less than 50% off, or more than 50% off, I should say. Less than half is what I wanted to say. More than 50% off. It's almost more like a 70% off, almost, if I'm doing my math right there. So you might want to jump over to GOG very shortly, because I don't know how long these sales are going for. How, what does it say? Until May 4th. So yeah, you want, because it's May the 4th. May the 4th be with you, right? So for that, they're doing all the Star Wars stuff. So you want to get there as soon as possible and pick up those games if you like to see some of those classic games and play them on your PC, DRM free. Also, I'm probably going to pick up the latest Humble Bundle as well. It's Humble Might and Magic Bundle. I haven't played any of the Might and Magic games, but I hear they're all fairly good. And I played a demo of one a long time ago, and I thought it was kind of cool, but I was a poor college kid at the time, so I couldn't afford it, and it wasn't cool enough for me to filter out money for it. So I think I might actually pick up all of this bundle here. Heroes of Might and Magic 3, Gold Edition, 4, Complete Edition, 1 through 6, the 6-pack, Heroes Online, Heroes 5, Might and Magic Heroes 6, Dark Messiah of Might and Magic Clash of Heroes, and then even more games coming after that. There's also, if you pay more than $15, you get Might and Magic X Legacy. Or I guess that's Might and Magic 10. I don't know why I said X there. Might and Magic 10 Legacy, and the Falcon and the Unicorn DLC for that, as well as Heroes of Might and Magic 3 HD Edition, 6 Shades of Darkness, and Duel of Champions starter pack. I have no idea what that means. But that is all over on the Humble Bundle right now, which you've got another 9 days as of this moment that I'm recording this to take a look at that. Also, I hear the weekly bundle had something. What does the weekly bundle have? Far Sky, Race the Sun, Arena Cyber Evolution, Phoenix Rage, Rack, and the soundtrack, Brawlhalla, and Freedom Planet. Yeah, I guess that's all. I guess the best one out of that would be Freedom Planet, because I've seen some videos of that. I think Jesse was doing videos of that, live streams of that, and that looked rather cool for Metroidvania. So I have enough Metroidvanias right now, though. I'm trying to look at Westerado Double Barreled right now. I've actually bought it a while ago, and I've been trying to find the time to play it with everything else going on, and then all these other games coming out. I was like, I am but one man. How must I do this? I must do all of this, and I can't. And I also talked about Chroma Squad. I will. Oh, did I talk about Chroma Squad? Did I talk at all about it? I might not have. I mentioned that I played Chroma Squad. But I don't think I actually talked about what the hell it is. And I'll link you to a Rock Paper Shotgun article on it. But Chroma Squad is another one that I want to put on my channel. It's an RPG, sort of. It's more of a management sim, I guess, than an RPG. It's got some RPG elements in it, but it's a management sim. You are sort of managing a TV studio. But the studio is, it's like a tactical turn-based RPG with that management stuff on it. So you are basically recording a sort of Sentai, Super Sentai, Power Rangers-esque thing where you have your characters and you have to manage, their tools that they're using and what episodes to shoot. And then as you shoot an episode, you actually take control of your characters, and it becomes turn-based. So you go around, you have to fight the various monsters. And then you can power up, or as it says in the game, chromatize, and then your characters switch into their Mighty Morphin outfits, as you will. And then you can take on bosses, and you get access to all your special abilities from that. And then there's also mecha combat in there at some point, which I didn't get to in the stream that I did, but there's a lot of comedy, a lot of humor in it. It's very, very interesting, very cool little game. It's relatively cheap too. I think it was only like $20 US, probably less than that even. So I think it was on sale too, for like 10% off or something like that. So that will definitely be a series on my channel, because I enjoyed the 2 hours I spent in that significantly. So I will be recording that, but you might want to go check that out. It's if you're into the comedy, it's lighthearted. It is very lighthearted. I mean, I'll give you an example. One of the bosses you fight is literally a guy dressed up with a cardboard box, and his lines are cheesy and hilarious at the same time. What was one of the lines? Like he was a cardboard boxer, and he was I forget, it was like when you defeat him, he's like, "Oh, I've been recycled," or something like that. It's so tongue in cheek and so hilarious. It has to exist on my channel. It just has to. I must record this. I must show others what I've been enjoying. But I think that will do it for this episode of Cube Ramblings. Thanks so much for watching, everybody, and I will see you next Sunday.